along on the program today. 1 trillion naira spent on National Assembly constituency projects in 10 years without anything to show for it. So says the president. President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the over 1 trillion naira spent on the constituency projects of NASS in the last 10 years has produced no results. He said data collected from Nigerians in rural communities showed that they had not felt the impact of such projects. The president directed the ICPC to go after the contractors who collected funds for such projects and their collaborators in government. Prince Chilaka, we'll start with you.
Well, talking about projects, the first thing we should talk about is how many of the senators and honorable members have constituency officers. That is where it starts from. Two, when you talk about constituency project, how involved are the beneficiaries in these projects? They're not involved. So it's a pity, it's sad, but this is a reality on ground. A lot of people in governance see this money as free lunch money, just to enjoy themselves, just to spend it. For me, I think it is high time, we cut down the excesses of the National Assembly, and it is high time we begin to look at the number of persons. Maybe we should retrace our steps and, take what Rocha said, not too long ago, that we should have one senator per state. It solves the whole problem. We're spending so much money on these people. They're just there. I don't even know what they're legislating. Nigerians are suffering. Things are not working out well. The roads are bad. Electricity is not there. What are they doing? They're supposed to be doing an oversight function over the executive, but they're not. Rather, they become a rubber stamp to the executive. So, for me, I think the president is right. Everybody should be arrested, including the senators who awarded the contracts, because these contracts are not awarded without the intervention and knowledge of the senators. So they should be arrested first. Arrest them first, then they arrest the contractors.
Okay, going by what you said, now the president throwing a statement like that out in the open, I would have loved to see a situation where that sort of a revelation, from data like he received, is followed by quick action of, let's see some people being arrested, let's see some people being asked questions. 10 years of collecting taxpayers' money with nothing to show for it. Shouldn't someone be actually paying for this crimes?
Well, like one particular musician that was born and raised in Agege. His name is Small Doctor.
Okay.
As much as I don't like his brand of music, but I will pick one word from. He said, "What a bad penalty we're throwing." In Nigeria, those people on top, they are always above the law. For a president to say this, and we are feeling it. Last 10 years, 1 trillion, Nigeria is bleeding. Even America, you can't take 1 trillion naira out of America's
economy.
From the economy, and they will not shake. Nigeria, in the last 10 years, that one is only on constituency project. There are other ones, and this is the kind of senators and House of Rep that will collect constituency allowance. And some of them, they will not get back to their base until maybe December, like this December now. That is why they are going to share noodles, they are going to share rice. After that, that is another time. This is the kind of, in fact, this is a time. I will support Mr. Ashilaka on this. President should just, don't tell us story. All those senators involved, either past senators or current senators, pick them up. They don't have immunity. The contractor, pick them up, and have all those locals, all those indigents of those particular locality that all those projects need to be done, take them against them in the court of law. Use those people as witnesses against them in the court of law until we stop this. And let me tell you one thing: in Nigeria, out of what we have in Nigeria as a budget, we use it to service the executive and to service the legislature. Judiciary, they are always on the payroll. They have the payroll of what they even collect, which cannot go beyond that. Although they have a way that they also sneak it, but their own is still minimum. That's why they don't have autonomy on their own. But legislature, just imagine, in House of Representatives, we have 360. In the Senate, we have 109. Now just imagine, that a situation in which, let's just say, okay, we paid all of them 20 million every month, times 12 for a year, times 4 for 4 years, and look at what is going to accrue to one senator, then go to House of Rep that are 360. The same thing detailed to the states. We are servicing the executive and we are servicing the legislative arm of government. Okay. And these things need to be stopped. Or else, as I said before, Nigeria is seriously bleeding. The only just thing there is that we are looking for doctors that will come and fix the blade.
Mr. Shopito.
I will appeal, I will do something on behalf of Nigerians. I will speak to my pastor. I'm sure one or two of them might be listening. To give President Buhari a role, maybe as an associate pastor or something in my church, because he seems to be very good at preaching now. You know, I mean, the last time was, he preaches a lot. He tells us what should happen and what should not happen. Sir, you are the president.
You are the president.
You are the president. So I don't understand this thing. I really am confused. Like I was saying on another show, if I come up like this now as a civil society person and an advocate for good governance, and I say, 1 trillion naira has disappeared in the last 10 years to constituency projects, I'm well within my rights. Even if that's all I do, I've done something. Yes. I've thrown it out for us to talk about. Yes. Not from the president, who should have taken action, and perhaps by way of explaining those actions to us, is now giving this as a reason that, oh, we have arrested this, we have arrested this, we have moved this bill to the National Assembly, we want them to pass this because 1 trillion has disappeared. Then I'll be very happy. But you can't come out and just throw this in the air and walk away. What's that? Look, all the president needs to do till 1 million years, and sorry to burst your bubble, Prince and Mr. Demiro, you can't arrest any senator over this, because you will never find their name anywhere near any of these constituency projects. They are not responsible for it. Yes. The least they will do is to sponsor, in quotes, a project and let the ministry concerned know that this is the project we want to executed in my constituency for this period. Beyond that, that's the end of their role. The ministry will award, the ministry will be the one to disburse the payments to the contractors. Forget the fact that those contractors are usually proxies, and we know where the monies end up, but you will never find the names of the senators. So for me, the whole constituency thing is an inexplicable scam. It's useless, because your role as a senator is, you are not an executive. You have no business trying to come and do this road and all that. If you want a project executed in your constituency,
raise it in your
lobby for it with the ministry concerned and let it end there. Why do we have allocation officially, because this thing is official, for constituency projects, for legislators, for what? Why? So what has happened to the Ministry of Works? What's the Ministry of Education doing? Ministry of Health, what's their role? The projects that they execute across the country, those projects, are they not in somebody's constituency already? So we need to fix and deal with this structural problem. Otherwise, the problem will never go away. So let's amend the law that makes constituency projects
a responsibility or a duty.
I think, Mr. Sheikh, I want to disagree. I think I've followed this thing about constituency projects. The funds are given to the senators.
No.
I'm telling you. Go and do a background
now. They don't collect a dime.
Now the thing is, for me, I would say, first and foremost, that should be scrapped.
Exactly.
It should. You see, when a lot of things need to be looked into, and that's why I keep saying that there is need for us as a people to sit down and look at that document called the 1999 Constitution. There is so much wrong in that document. That document should actually be thrown away. We should sit down as a people and develop our own constitution. What we have is not a Nigerian constitution. It's not a constitution for the people. It's a document that was foisted on the people.
By a few.
And that is why it is only the few that is benefiting from it.
Okay. Chief Osho says, watch out, opposition senators will only be arrested. Good day all in the studio, together with the anchor, the TV station of the year. This This is one of the TV stations that allows people to air their views, also not selective in inviting panelists. Kudos. Please, it is unfortunate that parents should go to school and fight for their children. That is why school authorities will say pamper children and pamper them back to their parents, since they would always threaten to withdraw their children in any slight discipline. And we are fighting corruption. You cannot cut the branches of a tree and expect the tree to die without uprooting it. From Damien, thank you so much for tasking my brain. I'm trying to understand the last part of your message. Anyways, Ayinde from Ogun State says, good day, madam, and the gentlemen in the studios. All those senators involved should be jailed publicly. Thanks. How do you jail publicly? Prosecuted publicly, you mean? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone in the house. The only difference I ever found between... I skipped that.
Don't cross line.
Okay, all right, let's go back to the discourse. Now, this is very heartbreaking, you know, for me, and I'm sure for a whole lot of Nigerians, because it's been years and years of deprivation. You know what I mean? In terms of, you know, the basic amenities that, you know, a human being should have. And it's not because we are in a country that is broke in the real sense of it, if you know what I mean, but just because of maladministration and bad leaders, you know, we are where we are. And then the president coming out to say this, is this supposed to be a reassurance to the Nigerian people that from henceforth, you know, the projects are now going to be done? What is this statement really supposed to do for the Nigerian people? Is it just trying to be politically correct or what? That is what I want to know.
This government, let us say truth to power. This government has always taken everybody to media trial, and nothing happens thereafter. You're talking about developing this country. Maybe a lot of us are not seeing the ineptitude in our leaders, the crass arrogance, the mediocrity in leadership that we have in Nigeria. A governor who has governed, a man who has governed the state for 8 years with nothing visibly to show to the people that put him there for 8 years. He gets elected into the Senate.
Wow.
And we're all smiling and clapping our hands. This is where the problem is. You do not take out cancer in the middle. You take it out from the root. And as I keep going back to this constitution.
Okay.
This government we have today made a lot of promises in 2015. And 80% of those promises are not being fulfilled. All we know is that each time they feel that Nigerians are getting agitated, angry, they come.
Comic relief.
Yes, they give us a comic relief. They throw it into the media, and you have a media trial, and it ends there.
Okay.
The government should do better than what they're doing right now.
Okay. Wasiu says mostly politicians are to be responsible for not allowing the honorables to use the constituency allowance for what it's meant for. They visit them with problems such as burial, naming ceremony, school fees, etc. I get what you mean, Wasiu, but that is not a tenable excuse.
You know, Mr. Shokitu and I, there was a day we look at Nigerian problem, and I totally agree with him. That Nigeria just have one problem. All our problem, pack it together, it's just one.
Leadership.
It's just corruption. Even the leadership we are talking about, because corruption, people always think is about money. Corruption is a catalyst to underdevelopment. Corruption to insecurity, to ineffective education, poor health facilities, and so on and so forth. Even the leadership we are talking about is corruption. Where you have leaders that will force themselves to power is corruption. And until when presidents, as much as he gives sermons, but there are some certain things you pick out of his own sermons, although there may not be action after that sermon, no, that he said that if you don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. Corruption is our major problem. If we can tackle that, all these politicians, they won't be safe. Because the reason there is this: if you were given money, or you are the one that supervised a project that pipe water needs to be done in my area, and I know that that pipe water is not done, and I face you like this, that Mr. Honorable, they gave us pipe water that is not here, what is happening to it, and you cannot give me a definite answer. You should know that anytime I see you, I won't attack you physically, but verbally and all those means that I have. And that is the problem. If we try much as possible, when our people will not go after these people, begging them some all those, and they will not give you one stipend, you will not think they've done one beautiful thing. When they fail to fix our hospital, our public school is in shambles, primary health center. I had one particular person from Ministry of Health talking yesterday as if all our primary health centers are good. I said, I don't know, but the one that I know within Orila Agege, Ikeja, Ifakojaye, I know all those places and I know how they are. In fact, there are somebody just gave birth. If a primary health center is collecting 70,000 for delivery, what is the difference between private and public?
Hospital. That's
What is the difference?
Okay.